no easy way. No matter what I do, somebody gets hurt.
Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
I have to go.
Today we're talking about people pleasing. I always used to think that I did what I want to do. I now see that I always optimized for what I thought that they wanted. This hurts your loved ones even more because you don't give them the chance to take your feelings into consideration. It generates a ton of anxiety, it made me doubt what I actually want, and it also attracts the wrong people. Once you figure this out, you will become master over your own destiny again, while protecting your loved ones from these awful feelings that they aren't able to trust you. Like they can't trust it when you say yes to something that you really wanted. In chapter 1 I will discuss some important backstory. Chapter 2 is a deep dive on the consequences, how it actually hurts your loved ones and yourself, by the way. And chapter 3 is about the exercises. Why do we forgo our own needs? Why do we actually do stuff that we don't want to do? When I tried to figure out these questions, I came across a pattern that has been in my life for a long time. I remember when my father asked me to go with him to chop wood or build something or whatever. And I remember feeling that I really didn't feel like it. But when I told him, I just sensed this disappointment. And I felt so guilty, and I've been doing a lot of these crossing my own boundaries in order to not disappoint him. Don't get me wrong, like I've had an amazing childhood and nothing wrong with my parents, but this was just this subtle process that was going on. And this happened so often, not only with my dad, but with a lot of people, that this process became so ingrained that eventually it becomes just an unconscious pattern. I always thought that I really did what I wanted in life. And for the big decisions, this is true. Like I quit my college degree and started doing things that excited me. And I experimented with psychedelics while this was absolutely a no-go in my household. But in the micro, I recently became aware that I was on autopilot most of the times. And this was all about the small decisions in my day-to-day. And this brings us to how I became conscious of this pattern. And this is important to know because then you will be able to spot it better in your own life. I was with a loved one. I was walking in a garden center, checking out the lovely plants. And then I suddenly realized that I wasn't present at all. It was very weird. It felt like my body was on autopilot. And this really feels like just going through the motions and just waiting until you have control again. It's like this weird switch that goes off, kind of disconnecting from what is happening in the moment, just waiting until you can decide again, basically. Like I previously made this commitment to spend this time together, but inside I really wanted to work on the script of a YouTube video. She wouldn't like me to just abandon my plans and go to work, right? For one of the first times, I really brought this up, and the reaction was pretty surprising, I would say. I told her that I was totally not present and that I was feeling like I didn't want to be there. To my amazement, she rather wanted me to work than to do something that I didn't want it to do. Of course, there was some disappointment, right? But she really wanted me to follow that inspiration, and the time that we spent together, that I would do that presently, and that was the thing that I actually wanted to do. And this sounds so logical. It's so stupid, right? I realized I am doing this so often. I just make decisions for people without even realizing it, while not even letting them have a say in it. I realized that it's way more respectful to actually state what you really want and then decide together what the best steps are, right? And this brings us to chapter 2, the 7 hidden costs that this behavior has on your life and on the life of your loved ones. So number 1 is very simple. Actually, I already talked about this. It steals their agency, robs them from the opportunity to actually decide what you both want, right? You're treating your loved ones as infants that can't make any decision themselves. Number 2 is that it destroys trust in your relationship. Your loved ones can't say if a yes really means a yes. And this leaves them in constant doubt and worry about what you actually want. And this anxiety is way worse than just a short disappointment. A no is maybe a little bit more disappointing in the short term, but in the long term, it will build a place of authenticity and trust in your relationships. Number 3 is that it creates a ton of resentment in yourself. If you constantly cross your own boundaries and you associate that with this special person in your life or a very good friend, then over time you will start to couple this crossing your own boundaries with this person, and you will start to create resentment and negative feelings towards them, because your ego wants to protect your freedom and automatically will start to create this resentment. And this destroys the relationship in the long term. You will get irritated and annoyed by each other, and eventually you will just break up or not see that friend again. Number 4 is that it very much destroys your ability to be present, because I'm constantly worrying about how my decisions will affect the other people in my life, instead of just bringing it up and just talking about it together. And then I'm just not in this fucking worry cycle that I wasn't even aware of. And this is fucking exhausting. So do yourself a favor, right? Number 5 is that it also blurs your own identity. It will constantly make you doubt what you actually want, because you're constantly choosing to do the things that you think other people want you to want. You have an idea of what the other person would like to see in you, and you constantly emulate that behavior subconsciously. And this is so confusing to your own body, because eventually you'll start to think that the thing you think they want is the actual thing that you want. It's just hella confusing. So, man, we have to stop this. Number 6 is that it also attracts the wrong people, right? If you constantly cross your own boundaries, portraying a version of yourself that isn't really authentic, you are lying with your actions. And this will only attract takers that will expect you to cross your own boundaries for them. On top of that, it repels people who value authenticity. This will create so much resentment in the long run. And I just want to set the record straight. This doesn't mean that you never help somebody with something. It just means that you really look inside your heart, what your heart wants you to do. Like, if a friend of yours is struggling, then you will probably really feel that the thing that you actually want to do in that moment is to help that friend. It is actually when you are constantly crossing your boundaries for people that even when a friend is struggling, that you feel like you don't want to help because you already crossed your boundaries for them multiple times, right? But if you really live from alignment and really live from your heart in that sense, you will never help someone that you actually don't want to help. And maybe in the short term, this will mean that you will help a little less. But in the long run, this creates a sustainable future for yourself and sustainable relationships. And number 7 of this people pleasing is that your confidence will suffer. If you're constantly crossing your own boundaries, you're actually giving proof to yourself that you aren't very protective of your own needs and wants, which makes you distrust your own words, right? It makes you distrust your own actions. Like, if you're constantly like going with the flow of what you think others want, you will put that above your own needs and wants, and this fucking destroys your ability to be disciplined, because you have so much proof that you don't hold yourself accountable to what you really want in life. And this fucking tanks your confidence. Alright, now you probably know why people pleasing is slowly and secretly fucking destroying your life. Now you're like, let's get on with the fucking exercises, right? So here we are, chapter 3. I just want to say that just being aware of what people pleasing does and what it is in your life is already 50% of the work. Now you just need to constantly be aware of yourself, knowing when you're actually not doing something that you want. Editing this video, I really realized that probably most of you are struggling to check in what you really want. And actually what this comes down to is that when you make a decision out of pleasing others, this almost always feels like a contractive fear response, right? Basically, the key here is to really feel what emotional texture this decision has. Really feel like, is saying yes right now, does that feel expanding or does it feel contracting? Right? Because fear is a contractive emotion, and if you really want something, it is an opening emotional state. So really feel like, is this decision, is saying yes, is that making me feel open and peaceful, calm, or maybe even excited, right? Or is this making me feel like contractive fear, or making me wanna crunch up a little, right? Or like that it turns your stomach, right? That it's really feel that texture in your body and make decisions from there. Also, a lot of the times this feeling is not that outspoken, right? A lot of times this feeling is also like super neutral. It could be that you just lost yourself so much in all these different options that your body is naturally saying to you, we don't want to do anything right now. When that happens, it's the best tactic to just sit on the ground, just lay in your bed until you're so bored that you actually feel like, I need to do something, right? I need to do something. And then just pick the option that feels slightly better than being bored. This is really how you get back into connection with what you want. But you first have to create a distraction-free space. So don't go on social media when you're sitting, like, you need to be bored for this, right? I just really had the feeling that I needed to include this in the video. Now we're going back to the exercises. The first exercise is a little bit like this extra information that I just put in the video. But yeah, just if it's slightly off, I fucking need to finish this video. So deal with it. And I have some exercises to help you with that. So the first one, it's called the Truth Minute. Every time you're presented with an opportunity to make a decision, you'll just take a little bit longer, just 1 minute, just take a moment to actually really check in with yourself, to really feel what it is that you want. Because what I've noticed with myself, most of these decisions are just very quickly. It's just going with the flow of things, going with the flow of your surroundings, right? And just these decisions are made so quickly, and then later you just realize that you just made a decision that you weren't actually supportive of. But then you don't want to like get back onto a decision that you made and rewind. And this actually brings us to exercise number 2, and that is actually rewinding decisions. The key here is to tell your loved ones that you are struggling with this, and that sometimes you just make a decision you didn't actually want to do. If they really love you, they will say, okay, it's okay. You will just tell them that sometimes you will make these decisions way too quickly and that you have to get back on them. In the beginning, this will maybe you went on a trip or whatever with the person, and then you're like, oh fuck, I actually didn't want this. Obviously in those cases you'll just bring this up and you just try to negotiate a plan that works for your heart and for them. Like with this me being in the garden center with a loved one, this actually looked like, yeah, I want to work on a video, but we only had 2 hours more to spend together. And eventually we just negotiated and said, yeah, okay, I will spend an hour on writing a YouTube video script, and then the other hour we can still chill. I can act on this inspiration, and we both have some time that we can enjoy, right? And eventually I just included her in writing the script, and we had a blast. And like, I was happy, she was happy. And this is how you move with the integrity, right? The third exercise is to relabel your guilt that you feel. And what this actually means is that in the beginning, you will feel guilty about rewinding a decision or about saying no, right? And it's okay to feel this guilt. This is just this old pattern that isn't totally aware yet that actually people-pleasing hurts them more in the long run. This is just this blockage, right, from the past. And it's okay to feel this guilt. Then it's just important to remember yourself that you are doing this for them and you are doing this for yourself. And by the way, this time would be good to use an affirmation because you actually already got your mind, hopefully, if I did a good job in like making this logical and making sense, right? Then you already have your mind on your side, and then affirmations really work, but because then it's just about repetition. If you have something and you're not fully on board, these affirmations, at least for me, don't have any effect. So I'll just put an affirmation on screen. When I honor my heart and respect my boundaries, their doubt and anxiety melt away, and I show up as a confident, fully present partner without resentment. And the fourth exercise is to practice saying an aligned no. So for this, I made a little card that you can keep with you. It also has the 4 exercises that I actually talked about just now. And try to aim for at least 1 aligned no per day. And every time that you do this in this 28-day challenge, you can cross off a little box. And you have the starting date on the top, reminders of the other 3 exercises on the other pages. Just print this out and keep it with you as a physical reminder to get your fucking people-pleasing shit out of your fucking life, right? Try to aim for 1 aligned no per day. And celebrate these no's. Like reframe saying no as a positive thing. That's what this does, right? Look, I made this video because I'm still struggling with this too. And this won't be over like immediately. I will use the exercises too. I probably will fail again and again. If this happens, I will just rewatch the video. There's also a QR code that will take you right back to this video and you can watch it again. And that helps with me too for the watch time. So we both win, right? I just hope you see that integrating this information will drastically improve your life. It could be the thing that will like transform your life, like beyond imagination. Like it's so important to live from what you want, also in these little tiny micro decisions, right? For me, I already can feel and see the difference. It felt so good to actually follow what I truly wanted, like when I was writing this script. And it was also so good to hear that your loved one actually really appreciates this. So if you tell your loved ones about this, take a minute to say yes or no, and just don't be afraid to rewind your decisions that you made on autopilot, right? They will accept it. At least if they really care about you, right? After this, just relabel this guilt that you feel and really practice your no. I'm sure you will kick this habit in no time. And if not, please don't beat yourself up because, like in my previous video last week, I figured out that beating yourself up, like this pressure and negativity, will put you back into fight or flight and survival mode. This is only one of 5 levels of motivation, and it's the lowest one. So if you also struggle with motivation, you can click here, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.